everyone, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Now today I'm looking at the 2024 what if scenario between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. I don't know who their VPs would be at this time. I don't know if Kamala Harris would go for a white male maybe, or if she'd go for a female, make it an all-female ticket, or anything like that. I don't know who their VPs would be, but it would just be if it was them two. And if you have a look at the map, this is the yet another political map simulator.com 2024 map. So that's why Texas has more points, Florida has more points, New York has less, California has the same, Arizona's gained a point, Colorado's gained, Montana's gained, I think Idaho may have gained, I can't quite remember. But anyway, there would be the safe states. Anyway, these would be safe no matter what. They will be safe for a long time, which is why the American electorate is kind of boring. Nebraska, all of these would be safe for their respective parties, winning in Hawaii and Maine's first. Now, as you can see, they both lost electoral votes because a lot of the electoral votes are going to Florida, Texas, and Arizona, and Colorado, moving away from this Rust Belt and northeastern, sort of midwestern region from America. So that's why that is. Some states I would put in the likely column out of these is South Carolina and maybe Mississippi. This is because with Kamala Harris on the ticket, there would definitely be increased African American turnout in these states, and Mike Pence really doesn't appeal to them. He's very uncharismatic. He's worse than Trump in my opinion in appeal. At least Trump has charisma. He has enthusiasm that he can get out. Mike Pence really doesn't. He is pretty boring. I remember watching the Tim Kaine versus Mike Pence debate, and it was the most boring debate I've ever watched. Just two boring people going at it with each other. So yeah, that's why I think those would be likely. They're not competitive. They won't be for a while, at least 2 decades, all these states. But they definitely will be likely because Kamala Harris will drive up the numbers for the Democrats there. Now we'll do my classic west to east, and I think Nevada could be safe for Kamala Harris. I think that she would do well with the Latino vote. I also think that Nevada is trending to the left, as well as Colorado and New Mexico. I'm not quite confident putting Colorado and New Mexico into safe because I think in the next election 2028 they could be safe if the trends stay as they are. I do think that at the moment they will still be likely because in this election 2020 I reckon they'll get around 10 to 12 points in favour of Biden. I think in 2024 they could be 13 to 14 points, and then 2028 then they might be safe. That is similar with Virginia. I think that these will all, well, not Nevada, but Colorado, New Mexico and Virginia by 2028 will probably be safe for the Democrats, which would be a massive boost for them because having that many safe states is really helpful, so then they can target all the other swing states like maybe Texas and Florida and Arizona, which are all gaining points and are all trending to the left, less so Florida but more so Texas and Arizona. Speaking of Arizona, I would put in the lean column for Kamala Harris. I think that Arizona is trending to the left. It is probably going to go to Biden. This election is presuming Biden wins, and Kamala Harris is the VP, so she gets nominated, and Biden steps down and doesn't do a second term. In Arizona, it's trending to the left. It will probably go to Joe Biden, but probably tilt to lean margin by about 1 point max. But Kamala Harris would definitely carry it through into 2024, and Mike Pence really has no appeal here. He's pretty far right, so the moderate McCain and Romney voters definitely won't want to turn out for him. Less so, they want to turn out for Pence less so than Trump. So it would definitely be a Democratic state in 2024, and will become even safer as the elections go onward. Now, the state of Minnesota, I think, will be likely. I think it'll be lean this election, but I think again with Mike Pence and his unappealing enthusiasm, I think Kamala Harris is a really good campaigner. She will definitely drive up turnout with all demographics. Mike Pence doesn't have that charisma. He'll definitely need a charismatic VP if he wants a chance. He'll need Trump campaigning on his behalf, like genuinely. Um, so he'll need Trump at fundraisers. He'll need Trump to do it. He'll need to be off the back of Trump in this. If not, he's probably screwed because he really needs to get someone who can get the numbers out, get Republicans to support him, get them to alienate the Democrats, like Trump has been trying to do. So that's why Minnesota will go into the likely column. With the Rust Belt area, I'll come back to that at the end. Maine at large, I'll put in the likely column. I still don't think, with Trump's impact on the state of Maine, I think that is too big an impact to reverse at the moment. I think that come 2024, Maine second district will still be lean for Pence, despite his uncharismatic nature, simply because Trump has flipped so many people to be Republican, and I think they'll still come out and vote for Mike Pence. But you won't win by a substantial margin, only by about 2 points in Maine at this moment. And Maine at large will still remain a little bit competitive, but not really. Definitely double digits for Kamala, but not enough to call it safe at the time being. Now the state of North Carolina, I could definitely see Kamala picking up North Carolina against Pence, again with the increased African American turnout. We saw it happen under Obama. There was loads of African American turnout across the country. Obviously, I don't think there'd be as much with Kamala because of Obama's hope and change and all of his big campaigning, but there definitely would be in North Carolina, and there definitely would be enough to put her just over the top. I don't think it'd be a lean margin because North Carolina at the end of the day is a Republican state at the moment, so it's not going to be drastically changing. It will be close, but at this moment in time, I'd be confident putting Kamala Harris ahead in North Carolina by a tilt margin. However, the state of Georgia, I am not comfortable doing. I think that will be tilt. I think that again with the increased African American turnout will definitely help Kamala Harris in Georgia. However, I don't think that'll be enough to flip it. It's more Republican than North Carolina, and I do think that Mike Pence would just cling on to the state. He'd definitely have to campaign there, both Kamala and Pence. However, he would hold on to Georgia. I don't think it will flip this election. 2024, sorry. When I say this election, that's what I mean. But I do think that Georgia may flip 2028. But even then, it will still be competitive. But I do think Mike Pence would only just hold on to Georgia. I think Trump will hold on to it by a 3-point margin. Mike Pence could be anywhere from 0.1 to 0.5 margin that I'd be happy to put in Georgia. I don't think Kamala would be quite enough to put it over the edge in Georgia, unless someone like Stacey Abrams was put on the ticket, or someone from Georgia that has big influence there. I don't think there'd be any other way for Georgia to be won by Kamala Harris. If she had someone else on the ticket, definitely could pick up Georgia, but she'd have to campaign hard there, and realistically she doesn't need to. If she campaigns in North Carolina, Arizona, the Rust Belt states, Georgia isn't necessary. Obviously she should put some funding there for ads, but shouldn't try too much unless she's really gunning for Georgia as a essential state. Now we will go on to the state of Texas. Now Texas, similar to Georgia, it's trending to the left. Texas will be blue at some point in the coming elections. Latest date for it to go blue is 2032, in my opinion. I think that in 2024, it will be closer. It's similar to Georgia. It's getting closer and closer and closer, but it's not quite ready to flip yet, in my view. I think that it would take someone pretty substantial to flip Texas. I don't think Kamala Harris would quite get there. She'd make it close. It would be unbelievably close in Texas. I think this election, 2020, it will be around 3-point margin in favor of Trump. But it definitely could be tilt. I just don't think Texas would quite flip yet. To depending on who Mike Pence has as VP, he definitely needs someone who appeals to these voters if he wants to get them by lean margins. But Texas would definitely be close. I'm not comfortable making it Democrat yet because Texas is, at the end of the day, similar to Georgia, a Republican state, and I don't think it would quite flip by 2024. 2028, however, definitely could, especially with more immigration coming there, and as soon as it does, the Democrats are golden. Watch my video about why 2024 and future elections favour the Democrats. It's in my channel description in the American election playlist, so check that out. Now we'll go on to the state of Iowa, which I am going to give to Mike Pence. I think, and Ohio actually, I think Trump had too big an impact on these states. He made them very red very quickly. And I think that impact will ripple out to this election 2024, and I think that Mike Pence will hold on to them. Despite his lack of appeal, it's similar to Maine's 2nd District. Trump did get the voters out here, and he did win by a pretty substantial margin. So I think that it could definitely be won by Pence by smaller margins than Trump, but definitely would hold on to them. If someone like Trump came back again for 2024 and 2028, these could get even more red in my view if he'd stop messing himself up with his responses to everything. But Mike Pence, in my view, would just hold on to them. Kamala Harris should again campaign here, but not too much effort. This is presuming Kamala even is the nominee and Joe Biden wins, so who knows. So now we're going to Nebraska's 2nd District, which I will give to Mike Pence. Not much needs to be said, it's only one electoral vote, but I think he would just hold on to that state. Now up in New Hampshire, I think Kamala Harris would win that by a likely slash lean. I think she would bring it back home for the Democrats-ish. She wouldn't run away with the victory, but I could see against Mike Pence anyway, a 5-point victory in the state of New Hampshire. I don't quite think that it will stay that way. I think once the Republicans field a better candidate than Mike Pence, it will definitely get closer again. I think New Hampshire will be a swing state for eternity, but Mike Pence is not a very good candidate, so New Hampshire would run away with the Democrats. But it wouldn't be a substantial victory per se. It wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be double digits, but it would be enough to put Kamala over the edge there. Now we have the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Mike Pence needs all of these, I think, to win. Kamala Harris needs one of Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Florida. Now, I think you can see where this is going. Kamala Harris does win. Michigan by a lean margin. Pennsylvania by a lean margin. Florida by a tilt margin. And maybe Wisconsin, but I'll talk about that in a sec. So, the states of Michigan and Pennsylvania, I think, will come home for the Democrats. Obama won them by very big numbers. Clinton obviously lost them. I think Biden will pick them up again, at least Michigan, but I think Pennsylvania will join him. Wisconsin, maybe not, but again, I'll talk about that in a sec. Michigan and Pennsylvania, I think if Joe Biden does win, I think they will trend to the left again. I don't think they'd quite breach the likely mark for Kamala Harris, but I do think that they would come home for the Democrats by about 4-point margins, each of them. Mike Pence would have an appeal to the white voters there, but again, he's unenthusiastic. His policies are worse than Trump's. He's not a very good candidate in my view, and the Republicans definitely should field a better one if they want to hope at 2024 if Trump loses. Now the state of Florida, I think, would go to Kamala Harris. I think she would drive up turnout here, and I think that her campaigning skills would definitely work, and I think she would just win in Florida. Mike Pence, again, is just unenthusiastic. He would need the elderly vote if he'd want to win here, and I don't think he'd get enough of them to come out and vote. Again, he'd need Trump, but with Trump's image at the moment, obviously that wouldn't help, so he'd need someone like Trump, and they aren't easy to find, as you'll see in American politics and history. So Florida would go to Kamala Harris, and she has got the nomination at the moment. Now, Wisconsin, see, this is the difficulty with predictions like this, is it all depends on the 2020 result. So say Biden wins Michigan by 8 points, Pennsylvania by 5 points, and Wisconsin by 4, I'd happily bet Kamala Harris over the top in Wisconsin. But say Biden wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, but doesn't win with Wisconsin, I'd maybe put it a tilt for Kamala Harris or tilt for Mike Pence. So it's really tough to do these type of predictions without knowing the previous election results to see where the states are trending. So Wisconsin would be a pure toss-up in my view, depending on the 2020 election. It's the only state out of the Rust Belt, these three, that I can see Trump actually winning at the moment. Uh, he'd have to pick up Wisconsin and Arizona and Florida to win, which he definitely could do, don't get me wrong, but it's looking like Biden would do that at the moment. I do think that Wisconsin could go to Trump out of, and it's the most likely. If Wisconsin doesn't go, Michigan and Pennsylvania won't follow, despite the polls having Pennsylvania lower. You'll take a look at the polls in 2016. They had Hillary up by 6.5% in Wisconsin, and it swung in favor of Trump by 0.77%, which is crazy. It wasn't expected, but obviously the polls have gotten better. Let's hope they've gotten better so they can restore faith in the polls. But Wisconsin is a pure toss-up in my view, but for the time being, I'll assume Biden won it, and I'll put it in the tilt column, or I'll put it in lean for the Democrats as well, winning by about 1 to 2 points, because Wisconsin will be close. The riots aren't helping at the moment. I think they should protest. I fully support protests. The riots aren't helping. The small select riots are not helping the cause. So I think that will just drive out Republicans in the state in 2020, which will make it closer in 2024. Wisconsin would be closer than Michigan and Pennsylvania. Michigan could go likely, but I'm not comfortable labeling that quite yet until we see the 2020 result. Obviously, after that, I will have a more accurate prediction, and obviously, when the campaign season comes, for whether it's the Republicans doing their primary or if it's even the Democrats doing their primary after Trump somehow pulls out a Hail Mary. So it will be close. I'll obviously have more update. I just think it's cool, fun to look at what it's looking like right now. But this is what I think would happen in 2024 at the moment. Maybe in the future, Texas could flip, Georgia could flip, who knows. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This is my 2024 prediction as of the 27th of August 2020. So, obviously, a lot can change. But I just like the record to show if I get this right, I am a god. Just kidding. But, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please comment anything you'd like me to do on this or on Political Machine or any other games you wish to see me play. I will play them. But thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and goodbye.